Welcome to our session about jumpstarting 2021 through the power of mentorship, hosted by Excel National, which consists of the following chapters: Phoenix, Las Vegas, San Jose, Southern California, and our two collegiate chapters, Arizona State and also University of Arizona. My name is Christy Lee, and I've been with Excel for 15 years. This is my 15th year. It's hard to believe how time flies. And I am in marketing and business strategy. 23 of those years that I was working in corporate America. And then the last 15 years have been private consulting, helping my clients with website building and marketing their websites and the power of follow-up. So we are going to discuss just what mentorship can actually do for you, both personally and professionally. So this is going to be a really fun time with four panelists that have actually gone through this experience with Excel. And so what we're going to do is we're going to actually talk about what Excel actually does in our communities and what the goals are of Excel, no matter where we are in our different chapters. So our goals are to cultivate and empower leaders for professional excellence, connect and empower leaders for professional excellence, connect accomplished professionals for mutual success, engage and participate with the community at large, inspire leaders to make a meaningful difference in government, education, business, and society, and empower youth and collegiate emerging leaders. And I can say without a doubt, over the last 15 years, I'm really proud to say that Excel has done just that. And you'll see off to the left, you can follow us with Excel_leaders, and also you'll see our website to the left as well. So now I'd like to introduce our panel. And Excel is the largest and fastest growing Asian American professional organization in Arizona with, like I said, one professional chapter in the Valley here in Phoenix, our two collegiate chapters, Arizona State University and the University of Arizona. And then outside of Arizona, Southern California, San Jose, and Las Vegas. And in line with our vision of a world where everyone has the skills and opportunity to lead, we lead with our strong values. And Excel's values are leadership, education, accountability, and diversity. In order to achieve all of our goals, Excel offers a diverse range of professional development programs on the local level. These may include series of panels, workshops, seminars, and we also engage our membership in community activities, ongoing mentorship programs, cultural awareness, and professional networking events. If you're interested in being a part of our organization, feel free to send us a message or visit our website. Like you'll see to the left, it's excelleaders.org. And now let's talk about the value of mentorship and how it can help you jumpstart your 2021 year, especially coming off of COVID. 2020 was pretty much hard on everybody that I know and probably everybody that you know in so many different ways. So let's start 2021 on just a really powerful note. And mentorship is a great way to do that. So it can actually help you both personally and professionally. Having a supportive, trusted mentor can help provide a fulfilling experience for both the mentor and mentee. And skilled professionals rely on the mentor's expertise and insight to guide them through difficult situations, be it utilizing the feedback given to improve your professional development, your personal development. A mentor is like a trusted teacher who helps you fill in the gaps missing from your professional journey, almost like having your own personal Yoda. So in this session, we will discuss the importance of communication and honesty as crucial values of a mentorship experience, because I think if you come into a relationship of mentorship you and you're not truthful and honest and open and transparent, you're only going to get out of it what you really risk to put into it. And the more that you're risking to do that, I think you're going to find that you're going to get so much out of this mentor-mentee relationship. So we welcome you to join us on this panel discussion that we're having today. And with that, I would like to introduce our panelists, Natasha Astari, John Fung, Nicole Lay, and Jeremy Tan. And I'm going to start with having each of them just introduce themselves and tell what their day job is and what your membership within Excel, how long you've been with Excel. And so I'm going to call on John Fung first. So John, if you would bring up your video and tell us a little bit about how long you've been associated with Excel, and then also what you do for a day job. And John, you are muted.
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here this evening. My name is John Fung. I've been with Excel for 3 years. I serve as a mentor this past year, and also I serve as the club advisor for the University of Arizona Collegiate Chapter. And my day job, actually, for the last 6.5 years, I serve as a Major Gifts fundraiser. My title is Director of Development for the U of A College of Medicine. So I raise major gifts for the research programs and also scholarships and different programs within the college.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I'm going to call on Natasha next. Natasha, if you could just open up your video and unmute yourself and just tell us how long have you been associated with Excel and what you do for a day job. Natasha, there we go. There you are.
All right. Hi. Hi. I'm originally from Indonesia, Jakarta, the main city. I've been in ASL since like 2018. So I started in the Thunderbird School of Global Management in Phoenix, in the collegiate chapter. And then since then, I've been in ASL since. Currently, I work in IntraEdge, which is IT consulting company, and I work as a compliance manager. I am responsible for ensuring my organization and our practice with the client is compliant with the government regulation domestically and globally. And I specialize within the financial service industry's clientele. And yeah.
Fantastic. And thank you so much. I'm going to call on Nicole next. Nicole, go ahead and unmute yourself and turn on your screen for us. And Nicole, how long have you been in Excel, and what do you do for a day job?
Oh, Christy, I think you need to enable my camera. Okay, gotcha.
There we go.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Nicole. I am originally from Macau. I joined Excel just like Natasha. We joined in 2018 via Thunderbird's collegiate chapter. And the reason for me to join actually is because some of the member of Excel told me there's a mentorship program. And I was like, oh, I want to be part of it. And this is actually how I got into Excel. And then my daytime job is a sales and marketing manager for a hospitality brand called Green Tree Hospitality Group. I oversee all 20 hotels' sales ethics, the brand's marketing ethics, and business development ethics.
Awesome. Thank you. That sounds like fun. And then Jeremy, go ahead and open up your screen and unmute yourself. And Jeremy, how long have you been with Excel, and what do you do for a day job?
Thanks, Christy. Here's some echoing. I actually haven't thought of how many years. I think since 2014. So that's 7 years.
Yeah, that's
maybe?
quite a long time. Awesome.
Yeah. So I started in Phoenix, and obviously now I'm part of the San Jose chapter, the co-founder of the San Jose chapter.
You think that you can get out of Arizona and be done with us, but no, that's not the case.
No, absolutely. We're everywhere, right? My day job, I'm a senior manager in EY's strategy and transactions group. And what I do on a day-to-day basis is I help advise clients navigate international tax laws when it comes to acquisitions, mergers, if they're trying to do integrations, restructuring, stuff like that. But more importantly, my night job, which really started with a cell, right? I'm a co-lead of the South Bay PAPN, which stands for Pan Asian Professional Networks, at EY to encourage diversity and inclusion, right? So alongside part of being with the San Jose chapter of a cell.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. So just for all of you listening in, what our agenda is today, we're just going to talk through some Q&A with our panelists and talk about their career journey. And they're going to share some best practices with you. And then they're going to share their best advice so that you can actually see how mentorship can really help you in both like your professional and your personal lives. And then we're just going to move right into Q&A. So if you have a burning question that you'd like to ask, we're going to hold those to the end, but you can drop your questions in to the Facebook live chat, and then they're going to be shared here after we're done with going through all of our Q&A. So thank you for just allowing us to get to know all of you a little bit better. And we're going to jump right into career journey questions. So I'm going to ask the first one. The question is, what's the biggest obstacle you faced on your journey, and what's been your favorite highlight of your career so far?
Do we just jump in?
Yep, go ahead and jump in, Jeremy.
So I would say the biggest obstacle I faced on my journey of my career probably was so I started in one division of Ernst & Young, and a couple years in, I had to make this decision whether I want to swap to a different division, which is the division I'm currently in, the International Tax Group. It was one of the toughest decisions I made in my career, and I would say, needless to say, with the theme of today, I called my mentors, right? I talked about it. One of my mentors who was actually a professor in my master's program, and I talked through that decision, right? And ultimately, I made that decision and transitioned to a different division. But definitely, that was in my mind, that was one of the toughest decisions I had to make in my career.
Okay, and can I ask from what made it in your mind the toughest? Was it because you already had established relationships in your previous department and you were thinking maybe that they would look down on you for changing, or what was your struggle there?
Absolutely. I think I think a lot of us have, try if you've ever looked for another job, right? You're always afraid, even though this was within the same company, you're always afraid of burning bridges,
Sure.
leaving a workload for your team and leaving them hanging, and you have this feeling, okay, what if the grass isn't really greener on the other side, right? Like,
Right.
will I be able to come back? So no, I think change is always hard, right? So that was why it was one of the toughest decisions in my career.
Okay, awesome. And then in your new position, would you consider that like your highlight?
Oh, highlight of my career? I would say in the last 6 years, I think the biggest highlights is when someone that I've, part of my team or someone that I've mentored, moved ahead, right? Moved ahead and succeeded in whatever they wanted to succeed in. And regardless of whether they say, hey, Jeremy, thank you for your mentorship, thank you for your coaching, it's always a highlight to me, because it feels like, for me, it feels like I was a little part of your success and a little part of the journey, right? So I think those are the biggest highlights of my career.
That's awesome. Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. And would anybody else like to jump in and answer?
Yeah, I'll talk about the question. So my biggest obstacle is, I started my career back in Singapore as an auditor. And then I decided to do a master's degree and come to America. And I think it's just a whole work culture and like just exposure to like a totally different way of finding career wise. So the biggest competition, I mean, the biggest thing was the competition. And, you have to go to like career fairs and all that. And that was making me nervous because usually we don't expose ourselves like that when back in Indonesia. So, and that's was my biggest obstacle. However, my favorite highlight of my whole career journey from Singapore to the US, even when I was in Thunderbird, we did a lot of projects which requires to go to a company and work and consult for their company. And I guess the team that I was in, fortunately, and the people around me were, trying to help me grow. And that's like they're mentoring me indirectly, and I'm also mentoring them indirectly. So we're kind of having a give and take kind of thing, like in Singapore, both in and in the US.
That's great. Thank you. Awesome. All right, I'm going to ask our next question. Do you have a mentor and how have they influenced you? Who'd like to take that question?
I can jump in.
Awesome.
So I do have my mentor. As I mentioned, I joined Excel because I really want a good mentor. I was new to Arizona. I don't know anyone except my classmate. So yeah, having a mentor is like a blessing of my life. At that time, I desperately want to do a career change. I don't know what I can do. I know my weakness in my as Nicole, but I don't know where to exactly start. Like people tell me, "Oh, you should do this," but oh, come on, everyone tell me what I should do, but how can I exactly do it? And this is how my mentor come in place and tell me step by step. We share each other a lot of stories, personal stories. So she's not just like a doctor in the clinic that just want to get like 15 minutes get the problem solved, but like she's more like a psychologist. Like sit down here, tell me all the things, tell me all the stories. We'll get to know you very deep to tell me what I need to do step by step in order to overcome my weaknesses and also challenges. And then the second biggest things I learned is, as an Asian from Asia, I don't like to ask people for favor. It's kind of weird for me. It's like,
Nobody does.
yeah, it's like,
Nobody
no,
does.
I feel weird kind of like it is more like it's I don't feel like it's a give and take. It's more like she keep giving me and I keep taking it rather than both like beneficial. But like later on I just learned in order to get the most out of this mentorship is really tell her, be really honest, be really frank about my weak point and tell her here's the things I think I'm really bad at, and this is all the goal that I want to accomplish. Like don't feel bad, don't feel shy, just tell her what I need. And
Yeah.
this impact me quite a bit at work. Just tell them what I need. Like if I can get it, if I can achieve it, that's wonderful. If not, then it will be a good learning path anyway.
Yeah, that's so key. Like if you would have gone into that mentor mentee relationship and you just say, I'm fine, then the learning doesn't ever get to start, right? Because they don't know what to help you with.
Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else want to jump in?
Yeah, I'll jump in again. So I do have a mentor, like Nicole. I came in 2018. I also wanted to know people outside my school because we were out in Glendale, so we didn't really have, social life there. But when we were in Phoenix, because I didn't have,
People always joke about that nothing happens on the west side, but you know what? Thunderbird School of Management is like world renowned. So like we have that school on the west
yeah,
side.
exactly. So I mean, but at that time I didn't have a car as well, so it was kind of like, hard to get out. But yeah, I do have a mentor and she's been amazing to me. We have the same personality. I don't know how Jason did it, how we connected. And then we would meet at least once a week. And then one thing about her, she influenced me on how to be out there, because even though I seem very friendly right now, I do get shy sometimes and I don't want to open up, but she mentioned on how to approach people, what's the best way, and how to be confident on yourself and be direct, don't, put a sugar coating on it, and how if you have a speech, you have to point out in a triangle kind of like way, like a triangle method, which is basically get to the point and you can spread out the details later. So, and that's what I loved about her. And that's how she influenced me to move forward in my career in the US.
Phenomenal. Thank you for sharing that. All right, next question. Would you do anything differently if given the opportunity?
I can do this too. So let me continue on this. So yes, something different in terms of like mentorship. No, I would not do differently because the relationship between me and her has been great. We've greeted each other almost like at least once every 1 or 2 weeks, depending on the time. But in terms of career, I would actually probably should have pursued a certification during my student time because right now we're really busy and all that. So that what, it will have taken an advantage in my position. And that was one thing I would have done differently at that time.
Awesome. Anybody else want to jump in?
Yeah, I can. I think one thing that I would do differently now, given all the advice that my mentors have given me, right, which is that relationships are super important, is so when I went through the early stages of my life, right, when I graduated high school at 16, yeah, enlisted in the military, did a year, 10 months, right, went to college, completed my bachelor's degree in 3 years. And then
Oh my gosh.
I completed my master's degree in a year, on top of which I did my CPA while working. And so I'm like, okay, Jeremy, you have to get all these things done, right? And I did, right? But what did that mean for relationships? I had, that just meant that I had all my time was spent on completing things that I wanted to accomplish, but I spent zero time on relationships. Yeah, right. And that's one thing that I would do differently. I would probably have taken it a little slower, enjoyed the journey rather than the destination, right? That you don't know this when you're heading somewhere, but
Right.
With hindsight, you realize that the journey is just as important as the destination. So I think that's one thing that I would have done differently.
Great advice. And that's so true. Like, especially in Asian culture, we're head down, straight A's, get the designate, get the degrees and get the job. And the IQ part of our personality and our culture is always emphasized, and the EQ part is not. And I think people are starting to come around and seeing how important a balance of both is. So great answer. Um, Next question. How do you keep your feelings separate from your decision making?
Let me take that question.
Awesome.
Um, most of the time we think, with, our mentor, like, let's make a decision up here. But a lot of times we follow our heart, right?
Right.
And so normally I would write it down. Some people call it the Ben Franklin clause or the balance sheet. You have your pros on one side and your cons on the other, and you list everything out. You write it out. And then I also have learned many years ago that I follow these 4 steps to solve, any decision making. So I would look at what is the problem that I try to solve. What is the problem? Number 1. Number 2 is what is the cause of the problem? And number 3 is what are the possible solutions? And then the 4th one is what is the best solution? And then, you have it all laid out, and then you kind of follow, you want to separate your feelings from it, but once you lay it all out, and sometimes, for the younger professionals, they might want to go work for a certain company because of the name recognition or the title of the position or the salary that they give you. But then you have to look, what is my career trajectory after you take a certain position?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. I love that. The Ben Franklin way. I love it. Who else would like to take that question?
I can do it. I think
All right.
John shared a really scientific way. I use it all the time during my case study in my college, which is really applicable in real life as well. But I think I can share a little bit more on the work side. I would say I am pretty emotional and like always have like empathy to people, which give me a hard time because my job also involve a lot of hiring, firing, and discipline as well, which make me really difficult to be the bad cop at work and say, hey, you did not do it right. I'm really disappointed on you. For me, it is exceptionally difficult. But over time, what I learned is you just need to set your aside and think about what is the company's situation, and you are hired by the company, you solve problem for the company. Even though I love you, I mean, in a work, like in a personal relationship, I really adore you, I really think that you are hardworking, you're great. But again, if you do one thing that is not benefited to the company, then I am so sorry. In a professional level, I cannot do it. And usually for me to have a little redemption after is to that person is like, hey, I really want to let you know it's not that I don't like you, it's not that I hate you, it's just because when you do this thing you will harm the company, and for your future, for my future, for the company's future, I have to take this action. I am here to just help us to improve together instead of putting like personal feeling there. So yeah, this is how I always handle things, just to tell myself this is not for myself, it's not for yourself as a person, is all for a company.
Yeah. Thank you. Great answer. And one more question. We have talked about successes. Did any of you experience any failure? And if so, what did you learn from that failure?
I'll start with that one. Between 2008 to 2014, I was laid off 3 times in that 6-year period in medical sales, in pharmaceutical sales, and also as a physician liaison for an imaging company. And I started to doubt my self-worth. I have a long professional sales career from insurance to medical sales. Is there something wrong with me, or is there something wrong with the industry, or just the nature of the economy? And so, it gave me a chance to reflect, and what I learned from that is that we need to build a network of professional friends and colleagues before we need them, because you can now tap into your network and share with your friends, say, hey, I just recently was laid off and these are my skill set. Do you know of any, companies or industry that, I can transfer my skills to? And that's how I landed the position where I'm at now, when I tried to help a colleague who was being laid off and eventually started working for the university. And that's how I landed my position with the University of Arizona, because of the network I have built before I needed my network.
Mhm. So true. That's awesome. Anyone else want to take that?
Experiencing failure?
Yeah.
I think all the time. I mean, being a pretty young professional, young senior manager, I don't necessarily have a ton of experience that a lot of the other more experienced senior manager at my firm does. So I make mistakes all the time. But I've learned over time that it's important to fail, right? I think culturally, personally, culturally, I was brought up, play it safe, put your head down, work hard, don't speak out of turn. But I've learned from my mentors that if you're not failing, you're not pushing yourself, you're not stretching yourself, right? So,
Yeah.
and I've brought that to my teams as well, right? I try to create a space where I encourage failing, because, it's interesting because I'm Chinese, so there's actually a Chinese idiom that says failure is the mother of success, right? Yet we're always so afraid to fail.
Right.
Maybe a specific example, when I was in risk analysis, I would have to do cold calls, right? And cold calling is anyone in sales knows that
That's tough.
cold calling is tough because you're afraid of failure. But there are two ways to look at it. You can look at it, oh, I'm going to call and someone's going to reject my call, or you can just move past it, right? And the sales that you do make, or the connections that you do make, those are successes. The failures don't matter after you make the successes. Again, when you fail, again, if you make a mistake, from my mentors, I learned, if you do fail, you do make a mistake that impacts your team or others, own it, apologize for it, and move on. Learn from it and get better. Don't get fixated on it. And that's what I've learned from my mentor. Another reason why having a mentor is so important, because it will accelerate your career. Because someone that even if you think you're amazing, you're the most intelligent guy or girl in the world, you're the most capable person, someone that has spent 20 years in your career probably spent 5 years failing. And they know all the traps, all the landmines, all the pitfalls, all the swamps that you're going to dig yourself into.
Right.
And I think they could, something as simple as a mentor saying, hey, don't overextend yourself, don't overcommit yourself, pick your battles, right? That could save you years off your career.
Exactly. No, that's a great point. Thank you. So now we're going to transition into sharing best practices. So I'm going to ask a question. How do you balance your work and home life? Who wants to take that question?
Yeah, I'll take that question. So, in the beginning, when you were a junior or an associate, you don't really know how to balance your work and personal life because you just got into the career. So you're very excited. So you're technically working the whole day, and you don't even realize it's nighttime already. But over time, as you get more experience and all that, and then you'll decide how to manage your time. And I guess in the beginning of last year, and when I started in the US, working in the US, it used to be simple. Work is work when you go to work, and when you go home, there's no obstacle, just ASL. But it's not an obstacle, but it's not an obstacle. But it used to be simple, and I will not bring home work to home. Just something that I usually do. But now, because of working from home since March 2020, I decided to build a routine, and that routine of taking a break between lunchtime and limit my time to when I can, do my own thing, maybe read a Harry Potter book again. Yay. So I know Harry Potter, always love it. So that's my 2 cents in work-life balance.
Awesome, thank you. Who else would like to answer that?
I can take that.
Awesome.
Work-life balance. When I first look at that question, look back at the time a couple months ago or a year ago, I will probably ask, what is life? Because I have low life after work. Unfortunately, in my industry, hotel open 24/7, holidays, and usually all the troubles usually come in weekend and holidays and like midnight. For my work, I probably need to be ready for a lot of emergency. Especially when the pandemic first hit, I worked crazy amount of hours, 14 hours a day, at least 6 days a week. However, later I find a very good trick, couple good tricks. First of all, just in speaking of myself, prioritizing task is really important. I know when I should plan my day. If today I want to focus on one big task, I can stuff some small tasks in between, so I don't need to scramble and then confused of what I should do next. I don't need to spend 15 minutes to think, should I do this or do that? So like my time run way much more efficient after I start to plan my day, the first thing at work and also at the end of the work. What should I do tomorrow, the first thing? The second things I learned is to set up for success. Um, a lot of the job, based on how busy it is, a lot of people focus on the current job task, but maybe we will forget about how can we avoid people calling me for that type of situation again. So I also spend time in automating a lot of the reports, set up a lot of the tools and SOPs for people to follow, to just find an SOS guideline first before calling me. That really helped me a lot, just by training the team on similar situation, what you need to do. If you have this, just follow this guideline, I guarantee 90% of the chance this won't happen at all. And now basically through communicating expectations and standards, I can free myself Sunday totally. And then the third thing is to let them know if you have any key events, key dates, just let them know, hey, usually Sunday is my family day. If you have anything, text me and I will get back to you as soon as possible. That is responsible as well. A year ago, I think this is totally irresponsible. What my frontline employee worked 27 and I just run away from them. But now I just want to let them know I'm still here with you. It's just that I may not be able to take up your phone call because my family needs me at that time. So I think those are really helpful for myself and for my job.
I think that's great. Setting boundaries is important. So awesome. And another question, do you have any books that you would suggest our listeners or our watchers read?
I have a couple. I want to start with a book that's been around for 85 years, written by Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Many of us, besides our technical skills, we work with people day in, day out, whether you're in a leadership position or you are a manager, like Jeremy was saying, you're working with people. So there are a lot of very good tips that Dale Carnegie wrote in his book and talk about, don't criticize, condemn, or complain. If you want to start off right with someone new or with your colleague or your subordinates, give them a compliment, that they did a job well and why. And being Chinese and Asian, a lot of us, even though if we know someone did something wrong, we want to give them the opportunity to save face. And that's very important in the Asian culture. And the second book, written by Simon Sinek, since 2009, Start with Why, how great leaders inspire everyone to take action. And if you don't want to read the book, actually, there's a TED Talk on YouTube, been viewed over 50 million times, about 18 minutes. And I think it's great that people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So you really have to understand the reason behind why, and why certain companies are successful, why certain people are successful, instead of telling people what you do, but you share with them why you do it.
Fantastic. Anybody else want to jump in?
I second those books, John. Those are great reads. My go-to if when people ask me what to read outside of technical books, two books, also pretty old, The Magic of Thinking Big, because I'm a firm believer that if you think you're going to fail, you're probably going to fail. You're never going to try, right? Magic of Thinking Big is a really good book. Who Moved My Cheese is another book.
Great book.
And it's a story. It's not a self-help book. It really portrays itself as a story, but it talks about change and how you stretch outside of your comfort zone and make good change.
Awesome. Thank you. Those are all great suggestions. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do a lightning round in our last 5 minutes of this panel. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours? So let's start with Jeremy.
Similar to mine, I would say obviously first, whatever career that you're trying to pursue, you need mentors, right? Listen, if you're listening, you're on TED Talk, you're watching a newly promoted CEO, a newly elected official, whatever it is. one common thread you will hear is that, you know, they will talk about how much their mentors helped them reach where you know, accomplish what they've accomplished. Sometimes they don't say mentor, sometimes they say board of directors, right? But it's really the same thing. Aside from that, you know, on the same vein of the book that John mentioned, you know, from Simon, you need to understand who you are, what your purpose is. You need to either have a vision or you know, find someone inspiring and follow their mission and be part of their mission. Because at the end of the day, whatever career that you choose, if you can't be fulfilled, if you can't bring your all, if you can't be happy, if you can't turn up, it's really hard to excel, right? But on the flip side, if you know what fulfills you, it makes it a lot easier. You're not going to a job. You're not feeling like you're going to spend the next 10 hours doing something that doesn't fulfill you. Again, a mentor can help, but a lot of it is self-discovery and making sure that you're making deliberate choices.
Awesome. Thank you. Natasha, I'm going to call on you next. What advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career similar to yours?
So, you know, originally, when I started, like I graduated from college, I didn't, when I haven't started college, I didn't know what to do. I was just going where my parents take me to, you know, and I guess that is the way there, right? Like in Asian culture, you know, especially the old times, I'm not that young. And then over time, then you kind of realize what you want to do, but you don't really know. It's okay, you know, it's not, it's okay, no matter how old you are, it's not too late. The best thing I can suggest you to do is to dip your foot under, like on just a generic career. Like for example, I went to an external auditing firm, so it does everything in terms of compliance, in terms of analyzing a company, in terms of all like exposing yourself to all different industries. And then that way you can expose yourself, I know what I want to do now, you know. Of course, it's not like a one-time thing, but it takes time. And I think take your time, have fun with your time, and don't rush into things, even though your friends are already achieving, I don't know, a CEO position. You don't have to be there. You know, people have their own timeline. And that's honestly what my mentor said to me. And it's really, it reflects to what I do every day. So that's my 2 cents to things.
Awesome. Thank you. And John, I'm going to call on you next.
Okay, so I'm in major gifts fundraising. I didn't know that could be a career until 8 years ago. And I didn't really have much experience in fundraising, but you know, I serve on multiple boards and help raise money to my group. And so I would say to anyone that wants a career in nonprofit is to volunteer. You know, find an area or organization that you truly believes in and volunteer and serve on the committee, serve on the board, you know, go to the events and volunteer. And you would find out more about that organization and about that sector, that, you know, if that's something that you truly enjoy doing and what really their mission behind it is, you know. And I think, you know, if you take the time to volunteer and, you know, the joy of being a volunteer, you know, Christy and I have served on, you know, another committee, and we see the benefit of, you know, what we believe in, and, you know, we just do our part, you know, to make that organization a little bit stronger, a little bit better.
Absolutely. And then I would imagine, you know, being a professional fundraiser like yourself, I think a lot of us, and tell me I'm not the only one, where, you know, you were raised up to, you know, being told, don't talk to people about money, don't ask them about money. And now you have to actually do it for a living. So somebody would have to get over the fear of actually asking people for money too.
Yeah. In the beginning, you know, it's very intimidating, you know, because, you know, when you ask someone for $1 million,
yeah, you're not
know,
asking to borrow 20 bucks.
But, you know, to someone who has that kind of capacity, who have that kind of assets, it's just a number, right? And it's
Right.
all about the relationship that you have with that person, and and it just become natural.
Yeah.
So
Again, back to Jeremy's point, it's all about relationships too.
yeah.
Relationships will drive so many different things that you do on a personal and professional level. Okay,
Yeah.
last but not least, Nicole, what would you say? What advice would you give?
I will say, don't afraid to ask, don't afraid to try, and don't afraid to fail, especially in sales and marketing. Christine, you know that very well as well. I'm sure John does too. If you're afraid of any of those that I mentioned about, you basically, it's very difficult for you to get improved. It's just you need, even though in marketing class we all learn about A/B testing, you may want to try on the skin because you never try, you never know. We always say, hey, be creative. Oh, come on, no matter how creative you are without taking the first step, oh, come on, it's just an idea. So it just keep doing it. I mean, at work, it may be tricky because your boss doesn't really pay you to fail. That's why on my job, I can only speak on my job, it really takes a lot of personal time to do a lot of self-improvement, certificate, just like Natasha mentioned. It's hard, but you need to keep improving yourself in order for you to do your job more efficiently. Also good for yourself too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, panel. I appreciate you walking this journey with us and just sharing all of your personal just experiences with going through being mentored and being a mentee. Now we're going to turn it over to our audience. If you have any questions that may have popped up that you've written in Facebook chat, let us know, and we'll flesh out your questions with our panel. So any questions that we got from Facebook Live? I'm going to take that as a no. All right, awesome. I'm going to move on. If there are any questions, go ahead and put them in our chat. If not, we're going to move over to our next slide. So as part of Excel's mission, we put together classes of mentees every year in hopes of energizing the careers and skill sets of up and coming leaders. This is with the help of our experienced mentors, and we are launching an online mentoring program in the greater Phoenix area. This is for free for our paid members, and there are limited spots. You can jumpstart 2021, just as you've heard our panel discussing their experiences being in our program. And you can jumpstart 2021 through the power of mentorship and build and adopt your skills in a constant and changing environment. The deadline for applying is January 31st, which is in a few short days. So if you have any questions about that, you can email mentorship at excelleaders.org, mentorship at excelleaders.org. And this event is also available on our Facebook fan page for more information. And then we're going to go on and talk about, we typically do this in a live environment every year, usually in January at our annual kickoff banquet. And we make a big deal about our mentors and mentees that have graduated out of our program. Obviously, with COVID, we didn't get a chance to do that. So we're going to do that now here online. And so we're going to announce our mentor and mentee of the year. And over the last 9 months, we've been thrilled to see the progress of 20 mentors and mentees. Some of them have overcome the fear of networking, a few have graduated college, and a handful even advocated for themselves at work. So imagine how this program has changed their lives. And we'd like to congratulate each mentor and mentee. Our mentors include Lena Booth, Roberto Coda, Claire Drescher, Frank Ferrer, Mary Foote, Chow Nguyen, and Nick Patel, and Marianne Rodike. So our mentees include Ben Bui, Raymond Chai, Frank David, Ashley Folks, Sho Uchida, Tracy Vo, Tina Waddington, and Sheila Yu. While each mentee and mentor dedicated great amounts of time and energy into their mentorship experience, we ask each class for nominations recognizing a mentor and a mentee of the year who truly went above and beyond and pushed themselves to grow. And we'd like to recognize these individuals as well. So, congratulations to our Mentor of the Year, drum roll, Mary Foote. Congratulations, Mary. Thank you for just your time and serving and making a difference in your mentee's life. So I'm going to read a little bit about Mary, and then we're going to invite her to actually say a couple of words. Mary Foote is an economic development professional with experience in workforce strategy, foreign direct investment, site selection, and corporate tax incentives. She currently leads strategy for the Partnership for Economic Innovation and is the managing director of Pipeline AZ, a leading community resourced platform for career exploration, job seekers, and employers. She also serves as the chair of Jobs and Economic Impact for Valley Leadership, which I personally graduated from. Amazing program. And she is an advisor for Board Developer Foundation. Congratulations, Mary. Please turn on your video and your microphone, and please take a minute to just talk to us. So, Mary,
Sure.
please turn on your video.
Okay.
Hello, congratulations.
Oh, great. You can see me. Okay.
Yes.
Well, thanks so much. I had such a wonderful time mentoring through this program, and my mentee has actually become one of my closest friends. It's cliched through these things, but I've definitely learned just as much from her as she did from me. And I've done these programs before, but I was just so impressed with the structure provided by the program. It allowed my mentee and I to just more quickly understand the barriers to her accomplishing her goals and how we could overcome them together. So thanks to everyone at Excel for allowing me to participate in this really great program. And I look forward to hearing more about the mentors and the mentees in the next classes.
Great. Thank you so much, Mary. We appreciate you serving. All right. So now we're going to introduce our mentee of the year. And drum roll, please. Congratulations to Frank David. Congratulations, Frank. And Frank couldn't be with us. He is not available to come on and talk, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about Frank. He is a self-starter who enjoys working in a fast-paced environment. He currently coaches and develops a team of motivated associates and inspires them to achieve their highest potential as an operations solutions architect at Accenture. So congratulations again, Frank. And we are sorry that you couldn't join us, but we celebrate you as well. Okay, and if you'd like to stay in the loop or be more involved with Excel and find out a little bit more about what we're about, you're welcome to join us as a member. Again, you can see our website, and we will have that up on the screen for you. We have chapters again in Phoenix, Southern California, San Jose, and Las Vegas, as well as 2 collegiate chapters here in Arizona, the University of Arizona and Arizona State University. The process to join is easy, and information on what mentorship can provide you and can be found on our website, excelleaders.org. Thank you all for joining us this evening and letting all of our panelists just share all of the experiences that they walked through. And as you can tell, if we haven't already emphasized this, take the leap. If you're feeling that inner voice just kind of nudge you, should I, shouldn't I? Take the leap, say yes. It will open up so many different doors that you never thought were possible. So we just thank you for all of our panelists that joined us. And also to thank you for Tori and Faye for organizing our event. And thank you to Matt Hum and Tom Tang for running all of our technical aspects, and our guest speakers, Natasha, John, Jeremy, and Nicole. Thank you so much, and we hope everybody has a great evening. Thank you.